If I told you that you could watch some fun, competitive sparring between Alexander Volkanovski and Sean O'Malley, or if we switch to boxing, something like Terence Crawford versus Ryan Garcia, I know you would be there in an instant. And today, we are watching pretty much the equivalent of that in the kickboxing world. We are watching Nong-O versus Takeru. These are two of the best kickboxers in the world, and they're not doing play sparring where they're just like, oh, blah, 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 and they're not touching each other. There's a little intensity here, and this is fantastic to watch. So when two of the best kickboxers in the world, kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters, I guess, Takeru is a kickboxer and Nong-O is more of a Muay Thai fighter. But when we have the opportunity to watch two of these guys square off in the ring, they're different weight classes, so they'll most likely never compete. But when we have the opportunity to see them spar, we gotta watch. And today I'm gonna break down what I see, and we're just gonna learn something, and we're gonna have some fun watching. Nong-O, if you were not already aware, is the former 1FC champion for Muay Thai at 145 pounds. He has 330 fights, and he is one of the few guys that I have said on this channel I would be scared to fight under Muay Thai rules in 4-ounce gloves. Kickboxing rules, that's a different story, but still, scary, intimidating dude. Takeru is a 3-time K1 tournament champion, I believe at multiple weight classes moving up, and he's defended the belt a number of times as well. So I don't know if that makes him like a 6-time K1 champion. His one big loss came to Tenshin, who is just crazy, undefeated in the kickboxing world. But these two guys that we're watching today are so incredible. So let's dive right in to this. We have Takeru in the red shorts and Nong-O in those lime ones. And I've watched this a little bit already, and I noted that in the first round, they start off, they're just playing. But obviously as shots start landing and egos start coming into play, everything intensifies. Let's just start off and get a feel for what they're both trying to do, standing very close within range, not really giving up a lot of ground. Nong-O, you would have already noticed, fires in that right round kick. He's really good at it. It's a very stiff kick. He keeps his leg fairly straight, not a lot of snap and extension, but the power that he gains even doing that is incredible. We move into Nong-O executing a nice double round kick and then a double jab out of the southpaw stance. That was really nice. When you can mix between stances, that's pretty fantastic. Again, that right round kick, it comes again. Takeru just probably getting warmed up. He is the smaller fighter, Takeru. I believe he's more like 135 pounds. That's what we'll see him compete at. Good jab from Nong-O again and again. Takeru having a little trouble getting past that slight little bit of distance and maybe that slightly stiff jab, standing his ground a little too much. He's got to get some counters happening, or he has to make sure that he's at least getting his head off the center line. Takeru, fast little hand combos. He does have the better speed compared to Nong-O, but Nong-O has that size advantage. Good over top. They're just standing head very square, not really getting it off the center line. I'd like to see a little bit more head movement as you jab, drop that head to the side, or when you cross, if you lead with it. Again, Takeru standing very stiff with that head. Oh, his head gets rattled back there. Right now, you can already see Nong-O, even though he's not going for big KO shots, he is definitely picking things up. And he's like, you know what? You're gonna stand there and I'm gonna tag you. He's not trying to create massive damage, but at the same time, these shots are not little pitter-patter ones anymore. Takeru with a flying knee. Takeru actually did some rounds years ago with TJ Dillashaw. I say it right. Yeah, he did some rounds with him, and Dillashaw, took it a little personally when Takeru tagged him, got a little heated, but it was interesting to watch. It's nice to see just these guys just playing together. Yes, some people are going to watch and go, wow, that's pretty hard sparring compared to what you normally would see somebody like Sanchai do, especially because they're boxing a lot more. But these are more realistic rounds. These are actual sparring rounds as you're prepping up for a fight. After that jab cross, I'm sort of giving the edge right now to Nong-O in terms of boxing, which is surprising because the Japanese usually have very good hands, very crisp hands, but Nong-O is actually winning everything right now, winning. You don't really win in sparring, but he's getting the better of Takeru simply with those hands. I'm gonna see Takeru start to mix it up, not stand there. End of the first round. And I want to take a quick pause to thank the sponsor of this episode, Fume. As many of you guys know, I'm an advocate for eliminating bad habits out of your life. But very often that is difficult, and it is much easier to replace your bad habit with a good habit. Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air, and instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You guys get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you are free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit so much easier. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. There are a number of exciting core packets to keep your Fume exciting, flavorful. You can change it up all the time. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. To get your own Fume, you can head over to tryfume.com/Gabriel Varga, or you can scan that QR code and you can use my promo code Gabriel Varga to save 10%. That's tryfum.com/Gabriel Varga and save an additional 10% today. And here we go into round number 2. Maybe we'll see them pick it up a little faster this time. Takeru still standing right in there and eating a few of those little jabs. Again, a jab. Again, a jab. This looks like it might be Takeru's weakness, is somebody who's long, who can fire out a clean jab. He's got to get something happening there. Once he gets those shots going, those fast boxing combos, it's really nice. But really what I'd like to see him do, if somebody's throwing that jab in, we've either got to see the parry and the counter jab maybe into a combo, or we got to get the hands up and just shell so they're coming off the forearm, and then you can counter with the low kick, or maybe take the shot and then counter with the round kick, or what we saw Nong-O do before, I believe, when the jab comes, you get the head off the center line and you come with that little corkscrew punch, which is fantastic. But Takeru, smiling. Oh, he ate another shot there, enough to snap the head back. Like I said, these are not light rounds. Yeah, they're not trying to KO each other, but they're definitely not pulling the way that I would if I was doing some sparring, unless I'm in fight camp. I don't know if these guys are in fight camp right now. They're pretty serious rounds. But Takeru, look at him. He's smiling every time he comes forward. He's having fun, even though he's getting lit up a little bit. Good body shot from him there. Oh, he lands some nice shots there on Nong-O. Both these guys, crazy, crazy tough. And we got to remember that when we're tough, sometimes we don't want to just ride through the shots. If you're somebody on the channel and you're like, yeah, you know what, I've never been hurt by punches or kicks. I've taken lots of them, never been wobbled. That's awesome. That's good for you. But make sure that you're still doing defensive things like blocking and getting your head off the center line, because eventually those shots, they start to add up in damage. Back at it, that jab, that teep, fake the teep into the jab. Nong-O definitely more relaxed. Takeru just a little bit more stiff, nice inside lows from him there. He's firing them. Wonder if he's trying to set something up. That jab, he needs an answer to that jab. If I was his trainer, I'd be going, yeah, well, you know what we're drilling tomorrow? Jab defense. But we have to remember that he is the smaller fighter. I might not look it by much, but even 10 pounds can make a massive difference. It's those shots down the middle where his defense is a little bit suspect. Now, I do want to make a point of noting that when I have watched Takeru before, sorry, pausing mid-round kick here. I might have said tension a couple times. I keep going back and forth between them because they fought, but we're talking about Takeru. When I remember watching Takeru before, I remember him being a pretty bouncy fighter. I don't remember him just standing and walking forward. So maybe he's working on something different, or maybe in sparring, he just moves a little odd, or a little different. But let's get back into this. It's got that Dutch guard, but it just looks like Takeru's Dutch guard is just easy to exploit. He's throwing, but he's taking a lot of shots in the process. He's sparring. Ooh, gosh, look at them. They're throwing down there. It's getting a little heated now. Good combos. Takeru doesn't always return his hands promptly to his head, so he's definitely vulnerable for the counters. But Nong-O more having success when he leads. But you see Nong-O getting his head off the center line. Good body shot up to the head, back to the body. Oh, but he eats across. Let's pause it right there. Again, mid-kick. Nong-O throwing his front kick or something. I want to take a second and just go, would I advise sparring this hard? Is this too hard? Because many people out there are probably wondering, should I be sparring like this? Or is this relatively light? Because yeah, I used to spar harder than this. But now looking back, I go, oh, it wasn't necessary, or I don't believe it was all the time. So if I did a 1 to 10 scale, the hardest I've ever sparred, and the 1 being like that, I would put this at kind of like a 7, 8. Like a 7.5. That's what this is for me on the intensity scale, and I wouldn't really want to go too much higher than this nowadays. But yes, this is how, in my opinion, you need to spar only when you have a fight coming. Outside of fight camp, tone it down, maybe to like a 4 or a 5. But this being a 7 to 8, don't want to go too much harder than this anymore. I used to definitely spar harder than this though. Back to that front kick, end of round number 2. And here we go into round number 3. Nice left body round kick from Takeru, but countered very quickly by Nong-O. Wonder if we'll see a difference in their blocking style of the round kicks. I can assume that Takeru is doing the cross block. Some people call it an X block. I'd like to see Takeru throw some body round kicks just so I can see what Nong-O's choice is. Most people will either catch or block with the shin from Thailand. It's very interesting how Takeru's the one pushing forward though. He pushes forward, he gets himself constantly within punch range. Not very concerned about backing up at all. It's a fun rounds to watch. Like I said, you should be able to recognize even on that uppercut there. Yeah, it snapped his head, but he still pulled it. They're not trying to kill each other, even though yes, they're not being crazy nice as well. A calf kick there, again from Takeru. Let's talk about calf kicks for a second. How do I feel about them in sparring? Because in my first karate combat fight camp, I went, you know what? I'm gonna let my sparring partners blast my calf the way they blast my thigh. And very quickly I realized, number 1, it's not conditioned, but number 2, the bone is so much closer to the impact zone because the muscle up here is thick. The muscle down here is not thick. So I ended up with some massive bone bruising and it took a long time to heal, about 1 month of achiness all the time. So calf kicks, in my opinion, you need to tone them down. If you're willing to kick somebody 10 out of 10 here, it's like it's hard sparring, you can crush here. I would say more like 5 out of 10 down to the calf. That is just my opinion though. Back at it, returning to round 3. Oh, tension with another Takeru, another jab to the head, goes back to the calf kick. He just trucks straight in. Oh, eating another shot. He's definitely not scared to spar decently hard. You can see that. Has his eyes locked on really well. He sees the shots coming. He just doesn't really react to them. Nice body hook from Takeru. Just head's too open. I'm gonna have to go back and watch a couple of his fights because I don't remember him getting lit up this much, but it could just be the fact that he would just knock a lot of people down. I'll have to look at his KO ratio. Maybe he takes a lot of shots to give a lot of shots. And they're starting to get a little bit more heated now. How can you tell that? How can you go, oh, somebody's sparring harder than they were earlier? The difference being, just there, Nong-O slipped back. Is Takeru threw a hook? You look at what the hand did. Did the hand stop? Was he aiming inches through? Or did it sweep through? That one swept through, which means the control element was not there. Maybe he wasn't throwing it 100% with his full speed and power, but he's aiming through, so there's that lack of control. They're definitely picking things up. That switch from Nong-O to the southpaw stance and the double jab off it, it really exposes Takeru. Yeah, he's aiming through now. Oh, he eats the cross. if you were to watch, and yes, sparring is not a fight because there's so many different elements you have to add in, such as nerves, performance under anxiety, there's so many things, but watching this, Nong-O definitely looks like the fighter who would win. Again, things can dramatically change in the ring on fight night though. Look at those, he's just, oh, now he's throwing. Now he's throwing hard. And that's when you now go, this is turning from sparring, where you're having fun, to that was more of fight. That was more of what you do when you're competing. So he's definitely getting a little bit edgy, a little bit upset at the moment. That's when that usually happens. He's eating too many jabs and he's starting to take it personally. Let's see if anything happens here at the end of round 3. Nong-O trying to control it. Good evasion from him. And there we go. Yeah, these guys threw down. That was exciting to watch. Like I said, Nong-O probably the more skilled fighter in terms of this moment, but things change constantly. Who knows what Takeru is dealing with? Maybe he just flew in from Japan, his timing's off, maybe he's been working on new things. I don't know, but I know exciting for you guys to watch. I really enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, please give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel and get subscribed. As always, train hard, and I will see you back here soon for another video.